Golf civil war between LIV Golf and the PGA Tour has been in the headlines for quite some time now. First, it was Greg Norman doing the yeoman's job to poach PGA talents. Then it was the players moving in droves to board SS LIV. Then came the tantrums from the PGA Tour at the rebels who faced suspension from the tour as a deterrent to others. But did it put a stop to the movement? Well, if it did, Sergio Garcia wouldn't be on the other side defending the Saudi-backed series. Recently, Garcia called out the PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan in response to Tiger's and Rory's comments. You'll recall that Garcia and Woods have been age-long rivals, so the Spaniard wouldn't for any reason miss a shot to take a swipe at the former world number one. So what did Garcia have to say? You want to watch this video till the very end. The PGA Tour LIV Golf battle escalated again after Tiger Woods backed Rory McIlroy's call on LIV Golf's chief executive Greg Norman to step aside. Woods echoed McIlroy's earlier comments, stating that Greg has to go for both leagues to reach a compromise. Following this, several golfers came forward to pick sides, and Sergio Garcia was one of them. The ace golfer, who was among the early rebels to switch to LIV Golf, came to Norman's rescue while slamming the comment and asking if Jay Monahan should go as well. Defending the Rebel Series chief executive, the Spanish golfer said that he and the LIV players support Norman and that a lasting solution can be found with him in the picture. He also didn't agree one bit with his former PGA Tour rival. Speaking in an interview with the Spanish media outlet Marca, Garcia said, "They say that Greg Norman has to go, but does Monahan have to stay or go too? It's very easy to say those on the other side must leave, but what about those on your side? I mean, these are also people who have done things wrongly. You have to look at everything." Reiterating his support for LIV Golf's commissioner, Garcia said, "Norman is our CEO, and we totally support him. We all hope we can reach a compromise." Garcia was simply calling for a level playing field. You could tell that he wanted whatever treatment meted out at LIV Golf to be done to the PGA Tour. So if you're calling on Greg Norman to step aside, then maybe Jay Monahan should be brave enough to do the same. Of course, he knows that's not going to happen, but he just wanted to set the record straight. And if you look at it from a neutral angle, it does sound pretty unfair to LIV golfers to ask their helmsman to step aside while Jay Monahan of the PGA Tour gets to keep his job. The thing with LIV players is that they often show their loyalty toward each other. They go as far as backing each other and even Greg himself, no matter how big the controversy. Garcia also admitted that both sides have obviously done wrong, but saying that the bad guys are only on the PGA Tour is not acceptable. There are obviously people who have done wrong in both places, but they make it seem like the bad guys are on one side, he concluded. But while we focus on Garcia's clapback, let's circle back to Tiger and Rory's comments on LIV's boss to get a perfect understanding of the showdown. At the DP World Tour, Rory McIlroy went viral for his comments about LIV's commissioner Greg Norman. Rory had stated that in order to end the stalemate between both leagues, the Australian ex-pro golfer would have to leave for an adult in the room. Rory said, "I think Greg needs to exit stage left. He has made his mark, but now is the right time to say, look, you've got this thing off the ground, but no one is going to talk unless there's an adult in the room that can actually try to mend fences." So Rory does acknowledge that Norman got the tour off the ground, but now is the time for someone more capable. And like he said, the Rebel League needs an adult in the room, which in this context probably meant that they needed someone more mature. Rory sounded so confident that Greg was the reason the stalemate was still in place. If that can happen, then things can happen. But as it stands, it's a stalemate because there can't be any other way. Maybe something can happen, nobody knows. It could be in the hands of a court or maybe in a judge, and something else could happen along the way. I really can't say. But right now, it's just a bit of a stalemate. In a few words, Norman has to go to end the stalemate. After the former world number one made the statement, it took Tiger Woods exactly 2 weeks to react, and as expected, he was on the same page as McIlroy. At the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas, where Tiger was a host, he spoke to the media aiming squarely at the coexistence of the PGA Tour and LIV Golf. When asked what needed to be done for the PGA Tour and the Saudi-sponsored series to coexist, the 47-year-old didn't speculate as he called for the head of the chief executive of LIV Golf. Without mincing words, Woods said, "Norman has to go in order for both sides to have an amicable relationship." "First of all, Greg has to go," said Woods. "And then any legal action brought against us and any countersuit we brought against them would also need to be put on hold. So then we can all talk freely." The 15-time PGA Tour winner was also asked whether he thinks both organizations can coexist, and based on his response, that might not happen anytime soon. Not right now, not with their leadership, and definitely not with Greg there. With his animosity toward the tour, I don't see that happening, Woods concluded. While many of the PGA Tour players might see Norman as the enemy, Adam Scott seems to have a totally different opinion. Scott's strong statement on LIV's chief executive has stirred conversation over his stand on the league and its executives. However, that doesn't change the fact that he might be the only player capable of making sense without making enemies. The Aussie pro golfer Adam Scott spoke without an agenda, and in these messy times, that can make it pretty difficult to discern precisely where he stands. Adam has made no secret that he is interested in the rival tour. The surprising part is that the 42-year-old who convinced legendary Steve Williams to come out of retirement doesn't necessarily view the league as pure evil. That being said, the Australian appears to be staying put for now. Speculations have it that he has made the commitment to compete in more US events next year and even wants to clinch more major championships. The ace golfer has listened over the last month as the two major voices, Tiger and Rory, took turns saying golf cannot come to an agreement as long as Norman remains the face of LIV Golf. You see, negotiations don't start with one party deciding who speaks for the other. Most curious to Adam was the concept of any peace talks. LIV Golf has spent almost $2 billion to start a rival league and lure big names, and the PGA Tour doubled down by placing a ban on players who left. LIV Golf immediately sued and the PGA Tour countersued. So what's there to talk about if not depositions? On this subject, the 2013 Masters winner told the media he believes the good of golf will eventually prevail. Scott believes LIV and the PGA Tour should both get on with whatever they're doing. I guess they're speaking for the PGA Tour, but I really don't know what this coming together is all about. Is someone making that up? I don't know if that's even possible. Scott continued, "It all seems like speculation to me, maybe because I'm not involved at that level. I genuinely feel like LIV and the PGA Tour should both get on with what they're doing, and it will all sort out." Apparently, Scott seems to be the only player that believes both tours don't have to collaborate. I don't think it has to be together for the good of the game. I believe it's all a big shakeup we're really not used to, but the good of the game will prevail, he concluded. Unless Scott is a man with a motive, he seems to be sitting on the fence with his recent comment. His perspective does make a lot of sense, but it's quite surprising for a PGA Tour player. What if he has an interest in switching to LIV Golf? Well, that seems unlikely, at least for now. You see, the Aussie star joined a new venture headlined and backed by Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, shattering Norman's hope of luring him to his LIV Golf League. Scott is officially set to join the high-tech team format series, TGL, which will begin next year and be played on a virtual course in uniquely designed stadiums. The new venture already boasts McIlroy, Woods, Justin Thomas, and Jon Rahm among the PGA Tour-aligned golfers, set to play in their 15-match season, with events held on Monday nights. World number 8 Colin Morikawa, who was also linked to a LIV move, has joined TGL, putting an end to the speculation of his disloyalty to the PGA Tour. Now, to the average mind, Garcia was probably being loyal to LIV Golf and looking out for his boss, which is obviously normal in this context. But he and his former rival Tiger Woods have a feud dating back almost a decade. From accusations of racism and distractions, both golfers haven't really been all buddy-buddy in a while now. So what do you make of Garcia's response to the former world number 1? It's clear and quite obvious what Tiger wants, but will LIV give in? We'll see you in the next one.